Welcome back to Shipping Insight 2020, and we're kicking off our afternoon workshops. The first workshop is Innovation in Legacy Companies, and Moran Shipping Agency is going to be discussing that, led by Jason Kelly. Jason, take it away.
Thank you, Carlene. Hope everyone can hear me okay. It's great to be here. I'd like to thank Carlene and her team and the Shipping Insight folks. We at Moran feel that this particular conference has become one of the best globally, particularly over the last few years, and as such, we're delighted to participate. And the panels have been so terrific. I loved the last one hosted by Marsat. I thought that the discussion really set the table beautifully for a discussion about innovation and how legacy companies, how we older men and women are dealing with the breakneck speed of change. Could I ask the organizers to put up the slides? Okay, great. I've got some data-rich slides, and I'm going to go through them very quickly. But for those of you that might have an interest after, we'll send them to you. So next slide, please. So today I'm going to talk about, what is tech disruption and how has it changed? What are the opportunities and challenges presented for shipping? And I think that the previous panels have really done my job in that regard. And then finally, the thrust of this discussion is, what can we do about it? Next slide, please. So a little bit about myself. This month marks the 26th anniversary for me as an employee of Moran Shipping. Moran Shipping's core business is ship agency, and I'm really proud to be a part of the agent business. I think that it's truly an honorable profession that really focuses on taking care of the needs of a ship and her crew who are far from home. We've been around since 1937. We currently have over 20 offices around the US and globally, in fact. We have offices in London and Piraeus as well. And we're a large ship agency here in North America. We handle over 10,000 vessel movements per year. And digital innovation, over the time that I've been here, thanks to the leadership of Jim Black, our CEO and president, has been a core part of our ethos. Next slide, please. So just to touch on briefly some of the stuff that we've done at Moran to innovate over the years, many of you are subscribers to our daily port information. That's been particularly important this week with Delta hitting the Gulf Coast. And of course, these things have to be made to provide access mobilely and in real time, and we're proud of the innovations that we've done in this area. Come check us out and subscribe. It's free. Next slide, please. Data analytics is something that is key. Agents traditionally have been about the purveyors of local information, and we have had to become more sophisticated. We've created a voyage data team where we provide market intelligence. We provide digital services like ACE, formerly AMS, ENOAD, data analytics and benchmarking, and we are an ISO certified company, and so much of what we do is capturing key performance indicators to better provide information to our clients. Next slide, please. And this is just an example. 10 years ago, we would have never imagined that we would be providing delay analysis for, not only ship owners and charters, but for traders and others who really want to drill down on this data. So this is just a sample of the type of innovation that we've had to provide for our clients. Next slide, please. And, innovation has helped us diversify. In addition to our core business of ship agency, we have a maritime security company, MOMPS. Our newest division is Moran Cyber, and some of you may have heard Dr. Will Perez in the last session talking about that, and we'll discuss innovation in that vertical in a little while. We have a marine advisory program, which is essentially safety and pollution, overseeing in the fossil fuel industry, safe operations in port. We talked about data services, and we also provide hub agency. Next slide, please. So that was the easy part. That was the first 24 or 25 years. But things have changed. Next slide, which is why we're here today. I love this quote from Deloitte. A decade ago, many companies could achieve competitive advantage by embracing innovations and trends that were already underway. And Moran really did this in the early 2000s. We reacted to a lot of new Microsoft technology that truly allowed us to innovate and differentiate ourselves among our clients, but among our competitors. But, you know, what Deloitte goes on and warns us is that, you know, today this type of reactive approach isn't enough, and that to stay ahead of the game, you have to be sensing innovations and possibilities. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Next slide, please. So in 2016, an intern that we had from Mass Maritime got all excited, and he brought me this article, The Death of the Middleman and How It Changes Maritime Transport. And he said, isn't this, Jason, isn't this the greatest thing in the world? And I said, no, you know, we are the middleman. And, you know, we saw this coming, and, you know, we knew that we needed to innovate. Next slide, please. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I think a lot of the previous speakers already have discussed, you know, really the true breakneck tech disruption speed, blockchain, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, machine learning, big data, marine acoustics, advanced materials, robotics. All of these things are creating huge disruption in our industry, including for agents, and also creating challenges as well. Next slide, please. Again, you know, here are some of the verticals: social media, drones, green smarts and ports, autonomous ships, cybersecurity, robotics. You know, these are the technologies that we all of the counterparties, all of the stakeholders within the maritime community need to face leading forward. Next, please. So this is a slide that I love from a friend of mine, Evan Estafilo, who is the CEO of SkySail Advisors. And I'm reminded that 10 years ago, the Association of Shipbrokers and Agents did a landscape analysis of digital companies. And I think there were really only about 8 or 9 that were impacting the industry in a large way. And if you see Evan's maritime technology landscape, and this doesn't count the startups and it doesn't count all the verticals, but you can see what a crowded space this has been. Next slide, please. So again, the things that we're worried about, particularly ship owners: IMO 2050, emissions, ballast water, digitization. These are the challenges that our clients are telling us are most important to them. Next, please. This is a hard slide to see, but what it talks about are the different sectors that that CEOs feel are going to be most impactful. And this was pre-COVID, but at the time, they saw that that green shipping, green ports, sustainability, ocean health was going to be driving most of the challenges in innovation and providing most of the opportunities. And I think we at Moran, we believe that. We believe that too. Next. So what can we do about it? Next. There's that quote again. Next. So today I'm here to talk about open innovation, and just like Deloitte had said, you could look internally and you could react to technology, and now companies are seeing that we need to look externally to innovate, and that's what's being called now open innovation. So it's reaching out to customers in new ways, looking at the academic community, looking at researchers, looking at inventors, looking at startups. Some of the most successful companies in the world right now, Facebook and Amazon and Twitter, most of these companies saw their greatest innovations by looking externally. With all their talent, that's how they're growing, that's how they're scaling. Next slide, please. Clusters are, extremely important. When I did my graduate work, I studied the Norwegian shipping community in the 1700s and how, the people in the industry then would meet, after work for, a coffee or a drink. And they really created these non-traditional relationship in disparate verticals within maritime. They didn't call it a cluster at the time, but it really created something special in that shipping community and led and set the stage for Norwegian ship owners, I think, to lead and be important stakeholders as they still are for a long time. So I think looking at cluster work, finding relationships, not only within our unique verticals, but in all of the maritime verticals. And the Economist recently noted the power of clusters, that 1 + 1 = 5 effect, being particularly significant in the maritime industry because of the complementarity of how we do our business. Next, please. So these are stakeholders, probably most of them at this conference that that Moran is really focused on engaging with over the years. And I believe that starting with our community has been a smart move. Next, please. Here are some terrific examples of open innovation. Apple has their open platform. We've seen, GE have incredible competitions. In fact, Lilly just started one recently. Crowdsourcing. Samsung has a diverse collaboration vertical. For me, if you look down towards the bottom, it's the startup community that I'm most interested in talking about today relative to and venture innovation as looking at open innovation opportunities. Next, please. So what is the best roadmap? What does the data show us? Next. The data show us that if you're sitting on a board of directors, if you are a CEO, if you're in the maritime industry and you're wondering about how your company can innovate, I believe that the best place to find this innovation is in the emerging blue innovation incubators and accelerators that are worldwide. There are so many. Some of them are specific to the maritime space. The Dock, Port Excel, Catapult. Many of these organizations are well worth our time as ship owners, as charterers, as supply chain logistics experts. There's no better fertile ground to openly innovate than in the startup community. And that's something that I've learned over the last few years. Next slide. So today I'm going to really just highlight one of them, and that is See Ahead. Moran knew that we needed a conduit for innovation, and I was privileged enough to meet a team of really smart people, and we decided a couple of years ago to found See Ahead, which is a blue tech innovation platform, and it was founded in Boston. And we help build companies. We run an incubator. We facilitate investments. We're catalyzing a blue tech cluster in the Northeast. And I'm so proud that Moran is, one of the founding sponsors. And, this incredibly dynamic community is one that has provided huge resources for maritime stakeholders. Next. Next, please. So, so why Boston? And I think that the innovation, well, first of all, the Northeast has probably one of the most densely collective of blue economy, ocean economy assets in the world. And Boston in particular is very interesting because of the venture community and the innovation that's coming out of the universities there. So it was really, we could have opened anywhere, but Boston seemed to be for us where where organically this was happening, and we're so lucky that we've done that. We teamed up with the Cambridge Innovation Center, which is a global startup co-working innovation company, and it's been a great ride. Next, please. And just in case you don't believe me, you can John Conrad, Captain Conrad from G Captain wrote an article last year about global tech disruption, and naming Boston is where it was likely to happen, that it was already happening. And at the time, C Machines had just been funded, and I think we're seeing some incredible momentum in that space. Next, please. Next, please. Thanks. So in just over a year, we have 40 startup members in diverse areas: robotics and AUVs, maritime shipping and logistics. We're not just focused only on the maritime and logistics vertical, but all of the blue economy and ocean economy. And that's really what a cluster is. It's taking a look at this unique community and cross-fertilizing innovation and technologies and inventions that complement each other, like the economist talked about. So we're, for me, the most exciting part is having Moran and Moran Cyber, which is a division, but we think of ourselves as a startup. We're a member as well, and it's just been a terrific place for companies to find new clients, find new partners, to share information on latest trends. It's a very rich community. If you're looking for talent, which is a big part of open innovation, a community like these communities are really important, and they attract talent and they attract capital, and that's a key part of, I think, facing innovation challenges. In shipping, whether it's carbon emissions or ship strikes with right whales or invasive species ballast water treatment, we really can't regulate our way out of these problems. We need to innovate our way out, and we're excited. And again, we work with all of the accelerators globally, and many of these companies, Spoolify, for example, who's listed in here, they've just won the opportunity to be in the Techstar shipping cohort in Singapore, and we're excited to see how that turns out. Next, please. For those of you who are interested in investing, one of the offerings that SIAHEAD has is a Blue Angel investment group, and we do have a nice core of ship owners who are there, and it's really about getting a first look. I used to like to say that Moran needs a front row seat to innovation, but I was told that the expression is first look, and I'd encourage anyone that's there that wants to take a look at pre-seed, seed blue tech deals in maritime. ColoadX is a digital freight forwarding company that is part of our membership, and they've been funded, and there are other maritime related businesses in the pipeline as well. And in fact, the two verticals that we're seeing the most pipeline on right now is maritime and aquaculture, and we've had some of the shipping men and women invest in the aquaculture, so that's an interesting outcome. Next, please. We've just launched, we have a philanthropic arm, and we've launched an incubator in partnership with the New England Aquarium, where we're giving $35,000 non-diluted funding to really try to identify the IP, all the stuff that's happening in this vibrant, essentially academic community cluster in the Northeast, and try to commercialize that. And so that, we've just selected, it was a very competitive process. Over 60 companies participated, and our first cohort is launching soon. We have 6 or 8 companies. I think that one of the questions that we want to ask is, while we're seeing this incredible deal flow in maritime and later stage companies, we want to encourage more applicants related to maritime, green shipping and ports, digitization. That's a goal for SIAHEAD. Next, please. Another company, and you notice at the bottom I put the SHIPPINGInsight Shark Tank logo on there, because Onvector, which is one of the first member companies for SIAHEAD, they attended SHIPPINGInsight a couple of years ago. They have a plasma-based water treatment technology that they were first looking at for land uses. They still are, But being introduced to the maritime industry, they saw new opportunities, and we're really proud of what Onvector's been able to do. And in fact, based on their participation at SHIPPINGInsight, they've been able to do a very successful pilot with a large cruise ship line. Next, please. And just to put in a little plug for the Shark Tank, on the last day of the conference, one of the SIA co-founders, partners of mine, Mark Wong, will be speaking, and he'll be overseeing and moderating that panel. So I'm excited for it. So again, not to spend a lot of time on the maritime verticals, but in the left column are those opportunities that we see. All of the both opportunities and intractable problems that we have in shipping that we're looking for innovation. And if you look in the right column, we're seeing essentially what all the different solution spaces are that might help us meet these challenges. And I know for Moran, we have focused our innovation searches on the digital side, but our clients are also looking for support for us looking at some of these other areas, which is how how we've made investments in other potential innovation areas that have to do with shipping. Next, please. This is a little bit of an old slide, but we're tracking Moran and SIA we're tracking almost 500 startups globally in the blue economy space, and excited again that sustainable maritime is really where we're seeing a tremendous amount of the deal flow. Next, please. So, as I come to a close here, I like this, what if we don't change and something will magically happen? I think a lot of companies are doing this. And I think any leader on a board of directors, anyone who sits on the board of directors, anyone who cares about what your board thinks about, should be asking the board, what are you doing about innovation? Next, please. This is another slide. If hanging out in at MIT isn't your thing, and you want to take baby steps, I think that this is a slide again from SkySail. I think LinkedIn is a great example of open innovation, and there's a lot of interesting things happening in that community. So if you're not on LinkedIn, maybe you should be, and I'd recommend that you that your company get a LinkedIn strategy. Next, please. So that's all I've got for you today. I think as a 54-year-old who was quite agile in his 20s, now I realize that myself and my colleagues, we can't do this on our own, and we're looking outward to innovate. And Moran would love to invite you to join us in a discussion about open innovation, a discussion about agency services always, but also what creative ways that we can work together to get that accretive, that synergistic cluster 1+1=5 effect. So I've got some questions that have come through on the chat. I had hoped today that all of the participants would have a discussion, but the tech didn't work out that way, not SHIPPINGInsight's fault. And so I'll just take a look and if what these questions are, and please invite anyone to talk to me, to talk to Moran, to reach out to us about your concerns about tech disruption, and also your excitement about maybe cashing in on some of the new opportunities. So, one of the questions is, when will blockchain applications finally take hold? At a FNASBA conference where I gave a similar speech last year, one blockchain expert said that he thought that blockchain was, a problem looking for a solution, or a solution looking for a problem rather. And, I think that smart contracts, we've already seen some great strides in that way. SIA is just onboarding a new startup that is applying a blockchain solution. I'm not allowed to talk about them yet, but in a really creative way to help ensure compliance and adherence to new bunker fuel regulations, chain of custody stuff. Another question that's come up is, the greatest barrier to adoption of new tech. I think tech can be expensive. I think that it's easy to fail. If you convince your board that this is the way to go and a project doesn't go well, it can be difficult to, I think, muster the same type of enthusiasm for the Luddites that might be in the room. So I think it's an ongoing process, I think, to let people understand how risky this is, and but how critical it is that we take these risks and mitigate them as best we can. Well, I don't see any more questions. I'm sorry that we couldn't have more of a dialogue and you had to hear me. And for those that are in the US, thanks for coming out on Columbus Day. Thanks for being here. And Moran is so proud to be part of the international shipping community. We love our clients, we love our counterparties, and we look forward to seeing you out on the water. Have a great day.